Thank you for joining another episode of the DNA of Professional podcast. I am so excited to talk to you today. Matter of fact, you might see that things look a little bit different because I wanted to just have a really intimate conversation with you. So, whether if you're watching me or you are listening and I'm in your ears, I need us to really get serious about today's conversation. So, you already know, Tareka Wheeler, your career and work life strategist. And today we're talking about time management. And time management is a very personal space. I think a lot of times we see tips and strategies and all these different tactics out there about how to manage our time, but it's a very personal space. And I know a lot of us struggle with time management. Time management impacts every single area of your life. It impacts your work, it impacts your home, it impacts your relationships with your spouses, your partners, your family, your children. It impacts just you taking care of yourself because we're trying to understand the concept, this construct of this thing called time. And guess what? It's a real life struggle. So I want to talk about why are you struggling with time management and how you can fix it. So that's what we're talking about today. Go grab that notebook if you don't have it because we're going in. And I need you to just get real with yourself today, right? Get real with me. Get real with me. Your work life bestie. Get real with me and let's have a real conversation. So time management, 30,000 feet, what is it? Time management is essentially exactly what it sounds like. You are managing how you use time, right? And a lot of times when I speak or I am doing something around time management or work life harmony, I always say, let's just do some simple math. How many hours are there in the day? There are 24. 24. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. There are 24 hours in the day. I've tried to change the number of hours in the day. Doesn't work. I've been thinking, well, maybe we should have 8 days in the week. Not happening. Haven't been able to figure that out. If you've been able to figure that out, you definitely need to send me a message. And by the way, if you have not subscribed to this channel that you're watching, subscribe on YouTube. If you've not subscribed to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any place where you get your podcast shows, please be sure to do so. And follow me on Instagram at Tareka _ the strategist, because I would love to connect with you. I want to hear from you. We can continue this conversation about time management. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, Tareka Wheeler, PMP. Easy to find, easy to find. But it's so important that you understand that time management is essentially the simple idea of you managing how you interact with time. Okay, so there's 24 hours in the day, right? You got your notebook by now, so you're writing this down. There's 24 hours in the day. If you start to just subtract away some simple things like the number of hours that you should sleep. I know some of you like, oh man, to do that question. Well, it could be 10 hours for some, 2 hours for some of y'all. Not good. 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever it may be. But the typical healthy amount of time that you should spend resting and sleeping, most would say at least 8 hours. When you take 8 from 24, what do you get? You are left with 16 hours, right? Check my math. You are left with 16 hours, right? Okay. So then when you are sitting there at 16, we still have to eat. We have to do our day-to-day personal hygiene. We have to work, whatever that work looks like for you. So are you in a corporate role? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a small business owner? Whatever it might be. But typically our work day, I know many of us are working much more longer than this typical number. So y'all might laugh at me. That's okay. You can do so. My feelings will not be hurt. But you typically, folks will say, oh, an 8-hour workday, which I know is laughable for some of us, right? But 8-hour workday. So if we take 8 from 16, what are we left with? We're left with another 8 hours to do all of these other things that we have going on in our lives. And when you break it down like that, some of you already want to press pause on this episode. But when you break it down like that, becomes very clear on why projects in our lives or activities in our lives, things that we are working on, have to be in alignment with our thinking for time management, right? So I work as a project and program management executive. I am also a career work-life strategist. I am a wife. I am a mom. I am Tareka, just herself. And I have to manage all of that, not just, on a schedule or in my planner or my calendar, but I also have to manage that from a place of time. So let's talk about why you're actually struggling to do that. The first reason why I truly believe why we struggle as professionals with time management is we don't have a very clear focus of what it is we're trying to achieve each day. You guys hear me talk about vision all the time or setting goals. And so I want to step away from that larger idea and just get very simple. What is it that you are focused on each day? I believe that because we don't set priorities on a daily basis, we fail consistently at time management. Because how can you manage something that you don't have a plan for? How can you manage time if you don't even understand how much time you're going to put towards a particular task or activity, or the time that you need to go somewhere, the meetings that you have, and the amount of time that you need to prep for those meetings, the amount of time that you're going to be in the meeting, the amount of time that you need to do any action items from the meeting? How can we effectively really manage time if we are not thinking about the time it takes for us to do things? So I truly believe that one of the reasons why you're struggling with time management is that you're not keying into what are the things that I actually need to do each day and planning for that on a daily basis. When I work with my clients, we talk about time management and we plan out how are you going to actually tackle your day, not just what you're tackling for the month or what you're tackling for the quarter, but what are the things that you're going to do throughout the day? When are you going to do those things? Sometimes we have to get very granular. We have to say, here's what my Monday looks like. And we do something called time blocking. So the challenge is that we're not thinking about day to day, what is it that we need to accomplish and how to prioritize the things we need to accomplish in that day. The fix there that I would offer to you is doing some time blocking. You may say, no, Tareka, what is time blocking? What does that mean? I'm so glad that you asked. So time blocking is where you literally identify how much time you need for any given task, activity, time for yourself, anything. And you take that and you put it on your calendar, you put it in your planner and you block it out. So if your morning starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, then I need you to say, well, from 7 to 8, what am I doing? From 8 to 8:30, what am I doing? You may say, oh my gosh, that sounds excessive. No, it's called time management because you're allowing yourself to put some boundaries around your time and your availability. If you do not manage your time at a day to day basis and understanding how you're going to tackle your day, you become accessible to anything and anyone at any time because you are not controlling your day. Does that make sense? You're not controlling your day. When you don't put structure on your day, when you don't make sure that you are managing your time, then others will manage it for you. I have learned that. I actually, in my calendar, I set aside, I call it project focus time, and I block that. That means there are no meetings during that time. Do not ask for a meeting. Do not call me. I am not available because I need some time to focus. How are you focusing if you are not being intentional about the times in which you're going to do so? There's tons of distractions that will come your way. There are people, places, and or things that are going to pull you away from the task and activities that you know you need to get done, both personally and professionally. So, number one, why are you struggling? Because you are not being intentional about your time day to day. You're not thinking about how I'm going to tackle each day, the priorities for that day, and when am I going to get things done? Your fix, time blocking. Time blocking. It is an incredible, simple concept that will allow you to take control of your day and take control of your time. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's one of the reasons why you're struggling. You may be thinking, okay, yeah, that's a big deal. I can start working on that. It's not easy. It's going to take some time. You have to train people, just as you have to train yourself and you have to build those habits. You also have to train people to operate within your time management framework. So this is my frame and this is what I'm doing. I have to do that constantly and consistently so that I can train others how to interact with me when it comes to my time. Okay, so let's talk about the next problem. Another reason why you're struggling with time management is because you are not focused. Yes, awkward pause. There's nothing wrong. I need you to think about that. You are not focused. One of the things that I really believe in, I've said this before, I actually had a whole conference that the theme was really thinking about focus. What you focus on will expand in your life, right? If you truly put your focus, your time and your energy and your resources, both, your fiscal resources and non-fiscal resources, right? So your money versus not, when you actually focus, you will begin to expand in certain areas. The issue is you're not focusing, or you're focusing on the wrong things. So the reason why you're struggling with time management is because you're just bouncing around and you're not really focusing on any particular thing at any given time. You have got to learn how to narrow your vision. And when I say vision, if you guys are listening, you can't see me, like my folks here right here on YouTube with me. But if you are narrowing in your vision and you're focusing in on a particular area, then you can manage the time within that focus. Some of you are just all over the place. Are you all over the place? I remember when I was all over the place. I had so many things going on, right? I was mom, I was wife, I was a director within my church, our youth ministry. I was leading along with my husband. We had a youth sports nonprofit, had a ton of things going on. I was singing in a contemporary gospel group, like a gospel group. I was on my praise team. I was volunteering. I was working, of course, at that time as well as a professional. I had a really highly visible and a lot of work and some would say stress, I might say pressure that was happening within my job. I was going back to school to finish my degree as an adult. I was actively involved with my kids. They were playing all different types of sports and activities. I had a lot going on. And guess what? I didn't shy away from it, but I actually had a focus. You may say, how in the world do you have a focus in all of that? I had a focus, and in certain seasons, I was able to focus my time and my attention in certain spaces. So I knew, for example, in like 2011, 2012, 2013, my focus was getting my degree. I knew that I wanted to go back to school and I wanted to finish my undergraduate degree. Yes, I did that as an adult, married, 3 kids, and a lot of other things going on. It can happen. That's a whole nother conversation, but it can happen. And I did it. And I was super excited and I did it for me, but I had to focus. So it didn't mean that I was ignoring other things, but I definitely had to press pause on some things, right? Because there wasn't enough time in the day for me to do everything at that time and at that season. So in that season for me, I was focused on completing my degree. Was I still very active in our youth sports organization? Yes. But was I responsible for coaching a particular team? So we had football program and we had a cheer program and then we had basketball. I mean, we really grew. It was a really phenomenal program. Capital City Bearcats. If you're one of my Bearcat family, shout out. But I didn't coach directly. I was giving oversight, but I wasn't coaching specifically at some points on a particular team because I knew that I couldn't give that my all. I couldn't be fully present because I was focused on completing my degree, right? I had to think about the types of things that my kids were engaged in at the time. I had to think about how we were doing things at home, right? Like everybody got to eat, you got to keep the house clean, and there were so many things that needed to do. So my husband and I really had to work together because I was in a space of focus. So one of the reasons why you're struggling with managing your time is because you have no concept of what are you focusing on right now in this season, right? This is why I wanted to have a different view and a different conversation with you because time management is very personal. You've got to tap into what's important to you right now, what's important to you in this season in your life. If you can't focus on something, then you will try to literally do everything. And I'm not saying that you can't do and have all the desires of your heart, right? I believe that you deserve to be successful in whatever your defined as success is. And I believe that the desires of your heart, as long as they're in alignment with the overall calling of your life, you can have that thing. However, I also believe that you have to have moments of focus. And when you focus, there's amazing things that come out of that because what you focus on expands. And when you can expand in areas that are very important to you, it's a game changer. It's life changing. You're going to see things come about in your life that you've been waiting on for months, for years, all because you were able to focus. They say, Tareka, how does that go to time management? Because if we go back to the very first fix of you doing some time blocking, you should see the thing that you're focused on should be taking up a good portion of your time, or the activities and goals that are going to help you in the area that you're focused on. You should see that in the way that you're managing your time. The power of visualization is incredible. When we try to just keep everything up here, we end up missing the mark. But when we're actually scheduling things, or when we're visualizing it in a planner or a calendar, dry erase board on your phone, pick your poison, whatever you want to use, it is a powerful tool because you can literally see what it is you've got going on. And when you can see it, it has a different internal feeling for you when you're sitting there thinking versus thinking, like, what do I got for today? What is on my plate today? What do I need to focus on today? No, let's write it down. So first fix, we got to do some time blocking. Know what you're doing each day. Plan your day to day. You can plan your day to day each day. You can plan it for the week, whatever it is you want to do. But you've got to do some planning. And then the second thing is you have to figure out what is it that you are focused on in this season in your life? And how are you going to direct your time in those areas of focus so that it can expand? Right? Okay, the next thing, why you're struggling with time management. I truly think some of us struggle with time management because we are not honest with ourselves and we are not honest with others. They say, excuse me, Tareka? I am honest. Honesty and trust is a part of my core values. Like, that's who I am. Is that what I'm saying? I need us sometimes to take a step back and reflect on being honest with ourselves of what it is we really, really desire and want. And then how do we not only convince ourselves that it's okay to go after that thing, but then how do we communicate that to those who are around us, right? Within our immediate circle, our family, our friends. How do we communicate that? You may say, what does that have to do with time management? I'll tell you. When we can really think about what we want to accomplish, when we can really be honest with ourselves, then we will begin to set up proper boundaries because we want to protect the very thing that we want to pursue. I am protective of the things that I want to pursue because I want to see those things come to fruition. I want to see the end, right? Like, I know where I'm at right now, but I want to see the future of that. So I'm very protective of it. And sometimes, especially for me as a mom, as a wife, as a working parent, right? Sometimes for me, it's difficult to sit back and have that honest conversation with myself because the thing that I'm after and I'm pursuing is not always about taking care of others. It's not always about doing for others. Sometimes, and as it should be, it's about doing for me. It's about focusing on Tareka. So when are you taking a step back to focus on yourself and being honest with yourself about what it is you want to pursue? When you know what you're pursuing in career, in business, in life as a whole, your fitness goals, your financial goals, whatever it may be, when you are serious about that, you will take the time and you will put energy into protecting it. And when you protect it, it's coming from such a deep place because you believe that that is something that deserves your attention. You believe it's something that deserves your time because you want it so bad. So again, that struggle is that we're just not being honest with ourselves, and everything that we want to do is not for everybody else. And so sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to prioritize self. It's difficult to prioritize that most inner need and desire because it's hard to communicate it to others. Or we may feel like, well, I'm being selfish, but actually it's not. You only have so much time in this life to live. Why not prioritize the things that mean the most to you, the things you want to pursue, protect them, set up some boundaries around it so that you can see it come to fruition? It's why I actually like vision boards, right? I think vision boards are actually really powerful when they're strategic. And it's not just like the arts and craft project, but when it's strategic and you take a strategic approach to put your vision board together. Why? Because when you have that vision board in front of you, you can visualize it, and there's certain things on it that you know you want to achieve. You're going to protect those things, and you're going to be honest with yourself and hopefully communicate with others. Hey, here's something that I am working on, and I want to be there in 2 years. I want to be there this year, or I want to be there in 5 years. In order for me to do that, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And so I need the time to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to be incredibly protective around it. What that means is that I'm not always going to be available. Actually, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I am not available from 5 to 7:30 because I am going to be focused on this area that I know that I want and I desire, and I need the time to do it. And I can't do that with distractions. And for some of you may say, that sounds incredibly selfish, Tareka. No, it's not selfish. It's necessary. And it's a part of time management. Time management is not just about your schedule. Time management is about the desires that you have in your heart. Time management is about the vision and the goals that you have in your life. And if you don't manage your time accordingly, if you're not strategic about it, if you're not protective about what it is you want to achieve in life, you're not going to achieve it. And that's just real. You have to be able to put yourself in a space to be honest with yourself, be honest with others, and be protective of what you're pursuing. And the great way to be protective of what you're pursuing is to carve out time to get it done. Carve out the time you need to actually achieve the steps, achieve the task, achieve the activities so that you can get to the other side and get to whatever that future thing is that you've been desiring to achieve for so long. But you need the time to do it. And if you're not pursuing time management in this way, I'm not sure that you'll achieve it. And that's just real. That's just real. So that's another reason why we're struggling, is because we're not taking a look inside and really being honest with ourselves, being honest with others, and then carving out the time so that you're protective of what you're pursuing. Okay? One more thing. One more thing to share with you. I hope this is helpful. I hope you're sitting back and you're thinking about, how can I think about time management differently? I want to stop struggling with my time. I want to stop struggling with when do I do what. I hope this is thought provoking for you, right? It's getting you to think a little bit different about what your schedule looks like, what the kids' schedule looks like, what your spouse or your partner's schedule looks like. What does your work schedule look like? Like, I encourage you to really think about how you can do things differently, which goes to my last point. One of the reasons why we're struggling with time management, why you might be struggling with time management, is you're trying to keep everything separate. I'm a firm believer of work-life harmony. I think you have to have work-life integration. It's got to come together like this. Work-life balance is almost impossible. You can't split yourself in two. You can't give 50-50. It doesn't work that way. Work-life harmony is this concept of being present and being in a space where you are working and living together, right? What's happening in your personal activities and your professional activities cannot be separated. It doesn't mean that you have to bring work home or you bring your personal activities to work. What it means is that when you're looking at your overall life, you are integrating who you are. You're one person. So in order for you to truly have work-life harmony, you've got to think about yourself as a whole being, right? So I encourage you, stop separating everything. It doesn't work. I've seen people try it and we fail miserably at it. I need you to consolidate. And so one of the things that you can do so that you don't feel like you're all over the place, you've got the kids' calendar over here, you have your work calendar over here, you've got the family general calendar over here, and you've got practice appointments over here, and everything is in a different place. It's consolidation. One of the things that will help you with this struggle of feeling like everything is all over the place is actually consolidation. And so I encourage you to think about, is there a master calendar that you utilize that literally is showing you across everything you've got going on in your life, what's happening each individual day, what's happening each week, what's happening over the course of a month? That consolidation is so powerful because, one, it's helping you see the bigger picture and it's helping you understand how you're going to be present in the moment, right? I can remember a time where I wasn't operating in work-life harmony. I wasn't managing my time effectively at all. I was at my kids' sports activities. I'm on a work call. So I'm listening on the call, but I've got them on mute because I don't want them hearing the whistles in the basketball court. Or I'm stepping out at halftime because I'm trying to finish up a quick call and then I'm jumping back in. Or I'm in my car on my laptop or in a meeting or trying to, finish up emails in the car. And then I'm trying to make it to something for the kids. That is not work-life balance. That is not work-life harmony. That was chaos. That was chaos because I wasn't being protective of my time. And I also just had no concept of when things were happening. Things were just happening. They were just coming up as they would. I was like, oh yeah, we got the doctor's appointment today. Oh yes, I have a practice today. Oh, that's right, I've got rehearsal today. Oh my goodness, I have this plan or this budget due today. It was just an oh yeah moment all the time versus having a really good place where everything was consolidated and I could see the bigger picture. You ever feel like you can't see the bigger picture and it just feels like there's always something going on? There's always something that has to be done and you never feel prepared for it. You feel like you're always reacting to something instead of being proactive and planning. It's because you don't have the bigger picture in front of you. So how can you manage your time? Because you don't even know at any given time of what's supposed to be happening, right? So consolidation is key, or streamlining is key. You may say, Tareka, I can't really blend everything. Try to consolidate as much as possible so that you have a visual and you know what's going on. And then you can manage your time, those 24 hours of which 8 of them you should be sleeping, leaves you with 16. Out of that 16, you've got to work somewhere in there. And then you've got another 8 hours to do the other elements of your life. So we need to plan that time out accordingly. And I think consolidation is helpful. So those are the things I wanted to share that with you today. That I really believe that you can tackle time management differently, and it's a very intimate internal process because your time is valuable. To me, it's one of your most valuable resources: our time, our energy, and our money. Right, 3 core valuable resources that we have, and you've got to protect it at all costs so that you can actually achieve the things that you desire in your life. You can actually get to the vision that you have for your life. But how can you do that if you're not effectively and efficiently managing your time? I hope this was helpful for you. I want to hear from you. I definitely want to hear from you. So be sure that you are interacting and engaging with me. Leave me comments. I definitely want to know what you think about this episode. Please be sure that you share a rating and a comment and give some feedback about it. I hope it was helpful for you. And until next time, here's the thing. You know how I feel about you. You have everything inside of you to be your best and your unique self. That's your professional DNA, your defined natural ability to succeed. And I want you to succeed. But how can you do so if you're not managing your time? You're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of time to be your best and unique self. So I want you to be intentional about time management, and I want you to start doing it today. Until next time.